Okay, well, buenos dias. Welcome to my messy garage and to this episode where we're going to be going into pretty much all the gear that I used this season in the 50 plus and outside of it too. Just going to be a comprehensive video just about a lot of gear. Why? Because I like talking about gear. Also, probably because if you're watching this right now, you like listening and finding out about gear. And my goal with this is to be truthful. This video is going to be a bit shooting from the hip. This is not scripted. I'm not going to be going into all the details and dimensions and constructions of each product that we're going to be talking about. All that information is out there and easily searchable. Instead, going to be kind of going into like my impressions of these products, why I use them, on what days I use them for, kind of that stuff. So in general, you know, I will say I am sponsored by a majority of these brands, so take everything with a grain of salt. But at the same time, like, my goal is to be truthful. Like, I don't have any incentive for you to take a recommendation from me and go buy a product and then come back screaming at me going like, that product sucked. And I'm more broke because of you. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to be truthful, go into some of the pros and cons. Overall, going to be talking about all the gear from the 50 plus this season. So let's get into it. First thing I really wanted to talk about too is shops. So below in the description, there's going to be a lot of links to a lot of the products below. The links go to Alpenglow Sports, which is my local shop here in Tahoe City. And the reason I partnered up with them is because they represent everything that is good in retail. They are an integral part of the community. They're not owned by some private equity fund. They are not trying to conquer the world and milk our outdoor community for a couple extra dollars for their investors. Like, they created the Broken Arrow Sky Race. They do the speaker series, which raises hundreds of thousands of dollars for local charities. I mean, they are everything that is good with retail. And I ask you to not support them because, you know, it's in your goodness of your heart that you should support them. Like, buy from them because they offer great service. They offer great information. Everyone that works there is unbelievably active. They're out there using the products every day. So if you're interested in any of the products I talk about, click on the links below, go shop with them. If you ever come through Tahoe City, definitely stop in there. It's a rad little shop. So anyways, let's start with skis. I'm gonna step aside, grab some skis. So my favorite ski of the year goes to this ski right here. This is the Salomon QST Blank. I ski this in the 192 length because I am tall, 6'2", about 200 pounds. I didn't like the original QST Blank all that much. It was a bit soft for my preference. It wasn't snappy enough, turny enough. It was kind of just wanted to go straight, but then it didn't really have much stability. This is a vast improvement. It has pop, it has energy. The thing kind of flies out of turns, but yet it's still stable at speeds. I mounted these with the MTN bindings because of the touring trip up to the Lincoln Alps with Nikolai Schermer and Elise Sogstead. I wanted a ski that I could charge on, and ended up, this was a ski I skied on every day up there. I mean, I also mounted it up with shift bindings for the resort. Obviously, didn't ski them as much. These are a little bit more beat up. But yeah, these were the skis kind of I fell in love with the most. This is like a true free ride ski. I was like, it was so fun rediscovering free ride skiing for myself. And this ski was a big catalyst to that. Now, if you were gonna mount the blanks with MTN bindings, like, it's a really heavy ski to tour on. Like, I don't totally recommend it. If you want to go charge 1,000-meter couloirs in the Lincoln Alps, sure, it's a great option, but I wouldn't call it a touring ski. But as a free ride ski, as a ski that you can ski POW, hut cliffs, shred crud, like, such a good ski. So this is my favorite ski of the year by far. So there we go. Now the next ski I was pretty surprised that I liked so much was this ski, QST 94. It's brand new in the Salomon lineup. This is in the longer length, which I believe is the 188, and then this is the 180. So you can see I have Alpine bindings, the Strive 16s, and then MTNs, and I use these for entirely different things. So this was the ski I skied on in January in Tahoe when it was dry as a bone and I was carving groomers. Skiing moguls, skiing crap snow. This became pretty much my on-piste and wind buff and just like hard pack kind of ski. Like it kind of rips, super stable edge to edge, yet it's got like quite a lot of tail rocker, so the tail releases pretty easily. I just found it to be a nice blend of having some power once again underfoot, but still have enough looseness to like play around and things. But then I decided to mount up the 180s with the MTN bindings, and this became kind of like my steep skiing ski, I would say. You know, I really wanted something kind of more powerful, something that was confidence inspiring, something that when you're skiing like steep, terrible snow, maybe it's runneled, chopped up, kind of icy, whatever, just that kind of really bad snow. This became the ski for that. And yeah, it's definitely heavier than a lightweight touring ski, but in the 180 length, you're obviously shaving off a lot of weight just by going to a shorter length, especially for myself. But that shorter length was kind of made up by the fact that this thing was quite a bit more stable than a ski that is lighter but longer. So, you know, I skied these on a couple different lines in the spring touring missions and the 50 plus. I was gonna do some expedition skiing on them. They became like quite a bit like my favorite steep skiing ski, if you will. So yeah, and these are them. Okay, these are probably the skis I skied on the least this year, but they're super fun. QST X's. Just didn't have a ton of powder days this year. You see Dyak charging the hell out of them. The reason is because edge to edge, they're really stable, but then because they're so tail rocker, double tail rocker, you can really like throw out the tail and just slarve and like really shut down a turn so quickly. You know, I don't end up skiing this ski all that often. I ended up liking the blank for that style of skiing as opposed to this. I know so many other people on the Salomon team ended up liking this ski more. I do still like this ski, but it was just like, if I'm in a 50-50 situation, I end up opting for the blank. But on a POW day, this is a really fun ski. And then the tried and true 106. So I've long spoken about this ski as probably my favorite Salomon ski of all time. I would say that this ski is the single most versatile ski I've ever skied on. I always tell people, I'm like, this is my groomer ski, and I've also summited Denali with it. Skied the Mesner Couloir on the 106. Obviously, it's gone through a lot of updates and changes since the year that they were the orange 106s, and I skied the Mesner Couloir till today. You know, a lot of little changes, but overall, it's like main form is still there. I put some MTN bindings thinking I was going to ski this a lot in those sort of hard pack off-piste conditions and use it as a backcountry ski. I ended up using the 94 for that kind of stuff, and I end up not skiing that this much. Instead, I'm going to put shifts back on these, and then like when I'm coaching a camp in Chile or coming up this next early season, I'll probably put shifts back on, and that'll be my like main resort ski or travel ski. Go up to Alaska over the holidays with the family, and you want to go for a tour, have this, but you're mainly going to be skiing the ski resort, that's this. Like the 106 is the single most versatile ski I've ever skied on. I mean, kind of does all conditions correctly, in my opinion. Like you can't go wrong. You'll have fun on any given day with it. It is the true quiver killer. Like if I had to get rid of every pair of skis I own and just go with one, it would be this. But didn't ski it that much this year for some reason. Although it's probably in the long line of Salomon skis, the ski I've skied most. Okay, now let's talk touring skis. So actually dedicated touring skis. So like the QST lineup, you can tour on those skis. I do tour on them, obviously. They're not totally meant to be like touring first. These are a little bit more specific to touring. So the QST Echo 106, so the Echo meaning a little bit lighter weight. It's a lightweight version of the normal QST 106. This ski kind of helped design, tested a lot of the internal materials, kind of helped essentially develop what the form was going to be, which I just told Salomon. I was like, just use the 106 mold. It's the most versatile mold there is. And then we, from there, just tested what was going to be the materials inside to get the sort of performance we want. So this ski continues to be just a super fun, versatile backcountry ski. It's a soft ski. I think it's been put out there. The only conditions I don't like this ski in is like if you're in a narrow couloir and you get runnels, like you're having to sidestep and it's just like really chunked up. Because it's a soft ski, it's also accentuated because I'm a big guy. The ski really does bend quite a lot. So in those situations, it's not the most confidence inspiring, but in any sort of softer snow, this ski excels. Like if it's soft at all, and I mean soft, not only just powder, but like any sort of corn, any sort of wind buff, any sort of just like smooth, soft snow, this ski does so well. It's only like when it's really kind of chunky and hard pack that it maybe starts to not do quite as well. But probably my touring days locally, I would say 75% of the time I'm on this. It's the most versatile touring ski and the ski I've skied most touring in the last couple of years. And then we've got the MTN 96. So the other thing that people may have seen me talk about out there is my distaste for carbon in skis. And this ski has carbon in it. Carbon to me has some feedback, has some qualities that just I don't agree with that much. Can feel tinny, it can feel unpredictable. It obviously is strong, it obviously makes your skis lightweight, but the trade-offs for it is something I don't really like. Yet I do kind of like this ski. And I will say, I haven't tested all that many skis in a competitive category to this. I've tested lots and lots of other skis, but not in this sort of category. I have tested one version, a much heavier carbon laid up ski, and it was god awful. I've never wanted to ski on ski again. This ski skied a lot better. And what I would trust is, I know the blister review guys always pretty much grade the MTN 96 as pretty much their top touring ski in this class. This is definitely more my big day ski. I used it on the last line Temptation Peak in Alaska. I was going to bring it on our expedition because it does have enough edge power and enough predictability. They do put dampening fibers to kind of quiet that unpredictability of carbon. So it's got, the carbon feeling, but the dampening helps kind of, get rid of that unpredictability, in my opinion. So I do like this ski for what it is. I'm not going to choose a carbon ski very often, but in those moments, this ski serves me well. So, yeah, that's it. I guess that's pretty much all the skis. So where do we go from here? Let's go boots. Boots. Yeah, you can't see it? No, yeah, nope, you're not. Yeah, I guess I'm not supposed to show you this yet, but it's a new touring boot from Salomon. I'm testing it right now. It's really, really, really good. That's all I can say. Coming soon. Let's get to the next one. Okay, now we're going to talk about clothes. We got this, the Salomon Scrambler Kit. So if you've noticed, I haven't been talking about kind of the outerwear I've been using for the last 3 years, but it's been maybe noticeable that it's been of different colors. A couple years ago in split coular, I had some like random blue stuff. Last year was black and orange, and now it's green and black. And that's only if you're truly paying attention, and I don't expect you all to be. But I've been helping test and develop this kit for Salomon for the last 3 years. And this is a ski touring specific kit, like top to bottom, everything designed for ski touring. Although I use it for every day now. Like ever since we've developed this, I haven't used anything but this. Like days at the resort, this is the only thing I use. To the point too is like, this is a lightweight kit. I wanted to test its durability. Last year, the black and orange kit, I only wore the same kit the entire year. Like I didn't switch it out. I have that option as a professional athlete. I can, get 3 jackets and 3 pair of pants, but I wanted to use it to see what its durability is because, one of the biggest things that's changing about clothes is the new environmentally friendly waterproof materials. California banned PFASs, which I think is really good because California is such a big market that's gone globally. So in that process, a lot of these outerwear manufacturers, even if they're global, because California is such a big market, they're just going, okay, we got to get rid of this entirely. So this scrambler kit includes those environmentally friendly water repellent additives, coatings. I would say it did pretty well. Like it's like 80 to 90% as good as like the super chemically harmful ones. I skied in the rain in Alyeska, and yes, the jacket was maybe a little bit wetter, like the outer material, but inside I was dry as a bone. So to me, like the trade-off is not that bad. So people that are freaking out about, oh, we're all gonna be wet from here on out. No, we're not. Our materials, our goods are still so much better than they were 20 years ago, even if we might be taking a 10% step back. But then we're also not going to be hopefully polluting our snowpacks, polluting our rivers, and maybe even polluting ourselves with these horribly toxic PFASs in the process. So anyways, whatever. Let's get into the jacket itself. So designing this jacket, wanted to make it minimal as possible. So there's not much. There's no like snow gaiters. There's nothing right here. There's 2 pockets and that's about it. I wanted this to be compact. I wanted it to be super light because the fact is your jacket lives in your backpack like 90% of the time when you're ski touring. The only thing like real amenity I had is the hood. I wanted this hood to be super locked down because if you are in a storm, if you are having to hunker down, your hood is quite nice to have it locked in. So that's the only thing we kind of put some extra work into and maybe some extra materials. For the most part, we tried to strip everything down so that this thing, we could take it off and it could be super compact, super lightweight, and fit into your backpack like that. So that's the jacket. The pants, again, everything designed for ski touring. So 2 oversized pockets, got kind of my favorite thing inside of these pockets. There's 2 more stretchy mesh pockets. So whether that's your phone, whether that's some, I don't know, sunscreen that you don't want bouncing around, it almost makes these 2 pockets into 4 pockets because you can have stuff that's maybe a little heavier that sticks to your legs and is not bouncing around, and then you can put softer stuff, bulkier stuff on top of that, so like heli straps and whatnot, still have those in there. Belt loops because I always like to wear belts. I know that seems like a weird combo, but for me sometimes I like to do this and ski tour with these down, gives you a little bit more breathability. I lost my mic. So yeah, I like belt loops on bibs. I know that seems like overkill, but for me, sometimes I like to actually ski tour with these down, gives you a little bit more breathability. I like the way it feels. I don't like, sometimes I feel with bibs, these things can start to rotate if you don't have a belt, and it just starts to get weird in the crotch, whatever. Full back zip, so you got the poop chute when you're out in the backcountry. Little soft pocket, I can put gloves in here, can put like a water flask. Here, can put a beacon in here. It's got a little hooky doodle right there. So, you know, your bibs are kind of the thing you're going to be wearing the most. That's the thing that doesn't come off. So these were designed specifically for a lot of ventilation and to hold all the necessary things when you're out ski touring. Other thing, I'm not going to be talking about mid layers today. I don't necessarily have a good theory on mid layers. I'm all over the place with them right now. Just kind of trying to figure out what works best for me. I have that contradiction of being a very big guy. I'm a very sweaty guy. As soon as I start moving, I pretty much get hot. So I tend to strip all my layers really quickly. Anyways, I'm not going to go into mid layers today, but I will go into base layers. So this base layer, the Labent New Yarn Ultralight Hoodie. This thing's amazing. By far the best base layer I've ever used. And the reason is because it kind of takes the lightweight breathability of like your spring sun hoodie, which are those polyester style hoodies. They're very breathable, very light, but they tend to stink really quickly. They also don't have that much warmth to them. That has the like lightness of that, but with merino. So the New Yarn weaving technique, which is some technology, just go look it up if you want to, makes this merino into something much more light and much more durable than merino typically is woven in. So I have this like very light merino rayon blend that is breathable, dries out quick, it's warm, it's just kind of everything. I use it on hot days, I use it on cold days. It is just like my everything. And you always see me, I love hoodies, so I always have my hoodie up. Labent Bluey hat, you also might notice that there's some signature 50 plus thing there. That's right, got my first little bit of merch ever. So if you want to support the 50 plus, if you want the first bit of merch, go to the description below. We're selling at a DFTBA, which is Don't Forget to Be Awesome. Some of the proceeds get donated to charity through DFTBA. And anyways, these hats, limited edition, both available in black and white, are available at the link below. So my favorite touring hat, you see me running in it, I bike in it, I ski tour in it. It's the hat I use kind of everywhere. Flip up the brim for a little bit of better view, and because I grew up with punk rock, kind of like that style, or flip it down when I want some sun blockage. So anyways, on to the next thing. Okay, now we're gonna talk gloves. So probably maybe heard me talk about glove layering and how in order to optimize space in your pack, instead of bringing like 3 very different gloves, you actually bring 3 gloves that work together. And with that, you can almost get like 5 different gloves, or you can kind of just compact the size of gloves that you bring out there. So gloves are really important in backcountry skiing. Obviously, keeping your hands warm and dry is incredibly important to not only have a comfortable day, but to stave off cold injury. So this glove layering system I've been kind of adapting and playing with over the years. I'm luckily sponsored by Hestra. They make the best gloves in the world. And even if I wasn't sponsored by them, I would tell you that. I mean, they're like a 100-year-old glove brand, and that's all they do. That's like, just try them, you'll know. They're expensive, but they're well worth it. So for the glove layering, what I like to do with them is these days I use kind of 2 main liners for my touring. So these are the runners all weather or the windshields. These are the 2 that I end up walking uphill with the most. So the windshields are slightly warmer. If it's kind of a little bit stormy, a little bit windy, these provide some nice warmth, but still breathable enough on the way up that your hands aren't gonna get sweaty or wet. The runner's all weather, much thinner, much lighter, just kind of keep off just that little bit of breeze off your hands when it's cold mornings and all that. Really breathable. These are obviously the runner colors, they come in black too. So these kind of gloves I'll wear on the way up. Then I grab these as soon as I get to the top, and instead of just like taking these off and putting them on something else, these are gonna be warmed up. Maybe they're slightly moist just from the warmth of my hands, especially me because I'm a warm, wet kind of dude. That sounded weird. Anyways, shove them into these gloves. These are the unlined Army leather Gore-Tex Hestra gloves. So Gore-Tex means they're waterproof. They've got a waterproof lining. These don't have like a wool liner to them, so it's something you wouldn't necessarily want to hike in. But as soon as I put those liners in, all of a sudden I've got the warmest, waterproof, amazing glove setup. And for the weight of this glove and this glove, which is almost nothing, I've got a setup that is incredibly warm and incredibly versatile. And even if that, like, let's say that's a little too warm, you want to dry these out, throw those in against your body, dry them out, I don't know, put them in the sun. You got something that's pretty light, a little bit airier, not necessarily the warmest, because this glove isn't lined with any wool or anything. Now, if I want to up my level of warmth, if I'm going on an expedition, it's super cold, I'll kind of do the same sort of thing, this glove, but then I'll bring these Army leather lined 3-finger mitts. So started to go for the 3 fingers over the mitts, just that much more versatility, especially if you're using ice axes and stuff. It's just better fit and not that much less warmth. These mitts are really warm. And if your pointer finger gets a little bit cold, just shove it into the other side, get those all bunched up, and then, keep that finger out of there. So the only other glove I'll sometimes use, which I really like, this is like a spring glove. And if it's spring skiing and touring, this will be the only glove I'll bring, and that's the Ergo Grip Active. It's wool lined, it's unbelievably breathable. You could tour up in this and ski back down and you'll pretty much be fine. Wouldn't use it on the way back down on a very cold day, but on a very cold day on the way up, it's really good. And even this will still fit in this glove to have a very, very warm option. So that's kind of my line setup. The only other glove this is like a luxury item, the C-Zone Contact Glove. So C-Zone is their kind of lining, the proprietary lining, so like a Gore-Tex lining, and then it's got this grippy surface on the inside. So for ice axing, for climbing anything, ice climbing, this is a really good glove. I know everyone uses those like fisherman's gloves, but they're not breathable. Everyone says they're breathable. They're not. These are actually breathable, waterproof, grippy, really good. But these are specialty gloves. So these 4 gloves, I could pretty much go anywhere in the world with these 4 gloves. So there's my gloves. On to the next thing. Okay, all this stuff just magically appeared. Let's just talk accessories, random stuff. Again, I'm probably not gonna cover everything I use this year, but I just grabbed a collection of stuff out of my closet and I was like, I gotta talk about this. So where do we wanna start? Let's go hats. Every town has their own fleece hat sewer these days. So go to your local fleece hat sewer and get a fleece hat. I always wondered why people use cotton beanies. Fleece beanies are more comfortable. They're better, so use them. Okay, goggles. I use the Smith Squad Mag. I just really like them. They fit my face really well. They've got a good field of view. They're lightweight. The lens changes really quickly. I usually always have 1 pair of goggles with 1 lens as a backup when I'm out skiing. And I know There's a lot of ski tours out there these days that'll be like, oh, you don't need goggles, you don't need goggles. You're like, well, if you ski fast, you do. If you're a good skier, like Josh Dyack, you do need goggles. But if you're a bad skier like me, yeah, you can get away with just skiing in the Pursuit sunglasses. So, the Pursuits by Smith, you've probably seen these. These are what I wear everyday ski touring. It's what I wear biking. I don't wear them just around town. They're very specialized. These, I got lucky enough to design top to bottom. Like, got to pick from a lineup of 20 different frames how we wanted it to look. Hell, I actually got to decide if we wanted to do like a framed or a shield, and wanted to do a shield because I just like the field of vision that comes with a shield. And then we kind of got to narrow it down, and then we made 3D printed versions and then got to test that. Ended up finding this was the best kind of fit and field of vision. It was actually one that was lowest on my list, but after testing, I liked it the most. I'm talking about the frame here. Side shields, it's got the, not all of the Pursuits come with it, but the lens that goes from Cat 1 to Cat 4. So Cat 1 being very low light transmission, like which it is right now, you can see through it. And then it adapts to the sunlight, the brightness, all the way to Cat 4, which is glacier glass category. So this is technically a glacier glass. They're amazing. You can ski in them every day if you wanted to. I, again, do like to ski with goggles, but these are what I use for ski touring every day. They're the best. Also comes with this very compact, handy, perfect goggle case and a spare lens, clear lens that's in there. Helmet, Smith Summit helmet. Again, kind of helped design this, helped get Smith to make this. This is Smith forays into lightweight touring helmet, triple certified, certified for skiing, climbing, and biking. So it's got the rock fall, it's got the side impact, it's got the pole through it for skiing and for biking, I guess, too. I love this helmet. I use it every day. I don't use any other helmet for skiing, actually. I mean, Smith makes a lot of other helmets, but this is the one I use. This little system, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see this is called the Townsend Tether. This is what I used to do, drill holes in there, put this little thing. This is so you can carabiner with tiny little mini carabiners, click that to your backpack on both sides with mini carabiners to the daisy chain on your backpack. So it's clip right there. And you have the most secure, lightest weight helmet carry system there is. So you don't have to have those dumb little carry systems that will fall off and they get, you don't zip it up properly and they're flapping behind you. It's just, they're useless. So that and 2 mini carabiners and daisy chains on your backpack is a helmet tether system. So it's got the MIPS in it. It's got the best BOA system. I don't see any reason to use any other helmet. That's my favorite by far. We've got pink Pomokas, of course. Like, would you use anything else? The grip to glide ratio on the Free Pro 2.0s, I think is the best grip to glide ratio. Like here in Tahoe, there's been some controversy lately about the steepness of our skin tracks. If you want to complain about that, like some certain people on some certain opinion articles, I suggest you take it up with the people that are breaking trail every day. I used to be one of those people, and then I tried to break trail, and then I realized what they were actually doing is actually the most natural line. Anyways, side topic. But maybe for the steepest skin track, this doesn't necessarily have the amount of grip that you want, but for anything else, the grip to glide ratio is incredible. They're super lightweight, they're super efficient. I don't use any other skin. This is the skin I use. We'll say the only con to this skin is it's not the most durable skin. So you do have to baby them. I wouldn't be like walking around on rocks, skiing over logs, that kind of stuff with this skin. You're gonna be spending a lot of money for these, and if you want them to last for years, like take care of them. Also, I've heard some people say glue issues. I've never had glue issues. Don't leave them in your hot car. Put them in a cool place over the summer. Put the skin savers on. You know, obviously I'm not following my own advice, but I do leave them in a cool place in my bottom, kind of closets down deep in a dark place. I've never had any sort of glue issues. So Pomokas, they're the best. Everyone swears by them. We got my Labent Pro Model sock. Go read about them. I still love them. It's got the grippy silicone on the heels so that you get your heel locked down so you don't get heel blisters while you're ski touring. Helps for even, you know, skiing downhill, because heel lock for skiing is, I think, one of the single most important aspects of boot performance. I'm not going to say this is going to change the way you ski, but I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt. So it's got silicone grippers on the top as well. Ultra thin. The newest model is ultra thin on the foot. Breathable. It's bamboo rayon with merino wool, so it's warm, breathable. It's a great sock. My wife has a Pro Model too. Slightly different foot fit for the ladies out there. I will oversize it and sometimes use her socks for good luck. Like I go on expeditions and I bring them because I want to, you know, channel my wife's good luck. So that's why these are dirty, and that's why these are mine, because sometimes I bring those for good luck. Wanted to talk water bottles. So I kind of settled on two things over the last few years. So we've got the Yeti water bottles. I really like the form of these. They're better than Nalgene's. Nalgene's have like so much wider of a form. They're just bulky. They're like a little chode that they don't fit in your backpack all that well. I feel like they take up a lot of space. I find, like, you know, a lot of ultralight hikers, they like smart water bottles. The Yetis kind of take more of a form like that, the Yeti Yonders. So that just narrower fit just kind of fits in your bag better. So whether it's the 600 milliliter, the 1 liter to the 1.5 liter, depends on the day that I'm using it, but this kind of size, the 1 liter, is pretty much always in my backpack at all times, chug top. But the other thing I've kind of started to employ too is just water bladders as well. If I have a big day in the backcountry, I'll have this in the back, and then maybe I'll have this in my front pocket. That way, if I'm ski touring up, I can just get a couple sips. If I want to fill this back up, use this to fill up out of creeks, whatever. It allows me a little bit of versatility. And again, I don't want to bring just pure bladders. I kind of don't like pure bladders. I've had them blow up on me. Bladders are hard to fill out of creeks. These are a lot easier. You can attach a carabiner to it, dip it with your pole down into a creek. It's hard to do that with a bladder. Anyways, whatever. Yonder bottle's really good, little bladder. Just don't forget to get one that has a lock to it. So this one has a lock. Otherwise, if you don't have a lock like that, that can go all over your backpack. That's why bladders can be bad. First aid kit. I've talked about this in previous videos. This is my favorite first aid kit. Sam Splint. Got bandages, got medicine, got a lot of other things. I usually have 3 heli straps, 50 branded Volet straps. The longest ones Volet makes. Must be missing one. Everything in here sits at the bottom of my pack. Great lightweight emergency first aid kit. Radios, Rocky Talkies. I use these all the time now. I will say in the beginning of the 50, Bjarne and I, teams out there, we didn't use radios all that often. Just yell to each other, be like, we'll ski close and whatever. We'll just, you know, be close to each other. Last few years, a couple years ago, I actually bought Rocky Talkies. Their form, their performance, their battery life was so good that I just kind of started using them more and more. This year, I ended up getting kind of sponsored by them because I was just like so excited by them. I wanted to reach out to them. We ended up working something out. I'm really stoked on it. And then of all things, I would say that this year was a defining moment for radios, and the fact that I probably will never leave them at home again when it comes to backcountry skiing, because I would say they played a crucial part in saving my life. Let's put it that way. Had a close call. You'll see it. It'll come out at some point. We have it on video. Yay. radios are really important. Rocky Talkies to me perform the best. I've had so many radios over the years, whether it's the Motorola's you buy at Walmart, they break, they float, they pretty much don't handle the elements very well. You lose them, they're in your backpack, they sit in a pocket. These things just work. They're designed for the mountains. I don't want to call them out. I don't like calling out other things, but I had a lot of bad luck with the BCAs. Spent a lot of money on them and they just broke on me over and over. I don't know what to say. I've had plenty of other people say they had good luck with them, but for me, the Rocky Talkies were the ones for me. So, plates. I haven't talked about plates too much, but the off-trib plates, climbing plates. These plates, carbon fiber, forget the names of them, the saucers and the cramplifiers, or the cramplifiers and the saucers. One goes with the crampons underneath and your foot on top, so kind of sandwich in between. This one you essentially step onto with your crampons poking through these holes and then heli strap on top. I tend to like these ones a little bit more just because they're so lightweight that they can live in my pocket. I mean, they can live in my backpack, sorry. So I don't not bring them. If there's any chance of boot packing, these just live in my backpack. These are a little easier to use. You know, if you're gonna be maybe boot packing for 100 feet and then not boot packing anymore, these are super quick on and off. These are a little bit more secure. If I'm doing huge boot packs, that's the ones I'm gonna use. But the off-tribs to me kind of revolutionized the climbing plates. I used to always have that thing where you're out there and you're like, shit, do I bring them today? Do I not bring them today? You know, they're bulky or they're heavy, and then you'd always make the wrong decision. They'd be heavy and sit in your pack all day and you'd regret bringing them, or you leave them at home and then you regret leaving them home because you're boot packing up to your thighs and you're just breaking through punch crust. It's a pain in the ass. So off tribs, they're not cheap. They do last a long time. They are the best. Get them if you like climbing couloirs. Well, let's go into what pairs up with them. Crampons. I switched up my crampons this year and I am very stoked on it. So I actually got 2 pair. So for years I used the Petzl Irvis hybrids. They're very good crampons, but I think I found something better. Blue Ice. They're a new entry into this market, small little company out of Chamonix, France. These are the Blue Ice Alpine Harfangs. So they have a ton of different Harfangs. These are the Alpine ones, so they're the most similar to the Petzl Irvis hybrids, but these are stronger. Both the strap is stronger than the 2 Dynemas. You still have to do the same kind of fitment. You got to make sure that these straps are super tight, that when you're locked in, this thing, it feels like a piano wire, just like the Petzl Irvis hybrid. The one thing that's so much nicer than the Petzls is it's got micro adjustability on the back of the heel piece. So if you don't get this perfectly right, you've got, I believe, up to 2 centimeters that you can move this with this twisty up here. Got 10-point front points. And what I really like is the coinage, I believe that's called. So the Petzl Irvis hybrids, what I started to notice is when you're climbing hard ice, those front points kind of start to bend upward. And I really didn't like that feeling, especially me as a big guy, heavy pack on, skis on your back. It's not the most confidence inspiring. These are a stronger alloy and they're coined in such a way that when I was in ice, there's none of that. These things felt so much more secure. Overall, they're the, I think, exact same weight. These Alpine, the Alpine hybrid Blue Ices as the Petzl Irvis hybrids. But I find them to be more versatile, more strong, easier to adjust. Just kind of ended up liking them more. I have another pair that's a little bit more of a technical ones. I think they're the, I don't know, the Harfang Ice or something like that. I forget. They're like super duper mountaineering or ice climbing or something like that. I don't need to show him that, but Blue Ice is making good stuff. I really like him. I'm gonna put these away. Man, I've been talking a lot. Can't believe you haven't turned off this video yet. Maybe you have. We'll go into more Blue Ice axes. So axes, same thing. Blue Ice, making really good things. So I switched up my axes away from the gullies into the Blue Ice Akitas and the Hummingbirds. So Hummingbirds, very lightweight axe. If you're bringing one axe, this is the axe you want to bring. So titanium front point, super light, not very technical, but spring touring, couloir climbing, really good for just kind of your one axe day. If you're bringing two of these, I don't know why you necessarily would, but if you're just kind of on a one axe day, that's the axe you want to bring. Now the Akitas, these are the axes that I've kind of really wanted. They're slightly more technical and slightly heavier than the Petzl Gullies, which was kind of something I was looking for. That much more confidence inspiring on ice, on steeps, in technical situations. You know, I'm not going to be able to sit here and rap about all the details of what makes them so much more technical. You know, there's a slightly more curved head angle, a little bit more heavy pick weight, all that kind of stuff adds to that. But overall, these are just more technical and more versatile, which even though they have more weight, because they are more efficient, like let's say you just get that first stick in the ice instead of like damn, 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 and then you get it, that first stick in the ice ends up being more efficient and makes up for the, you know, extra 50 grams that this weighs than if you had a lighter axe. So to me, I kind of find a slightly more technical axe to be that much more versatile. I also really like the pick points on the bottom. Same thing, when you're plunging, boom, just goes in so much easier than the, you know, the typical kind of cut off bottom. Adjustable trigger rest too, same thing. These are, yeah, I love these axes. I'm really, really, really psyched on them. So again, Blue Ice, making really good stuff, innovating, stoked on them. So let's put these back down, get on to the next product. Oh, ski crampons. I think I did an AMA on my 50 plus newsletter. So if you haven't subscribed to the 50 plus newsletter, please do that. Should have mentioned that up front, but yeah, go to the 50plus.pro, talk about ski crampons. I think I've had these ski crampons, these Dynafit ones, for 15 years. They're still going strong. I don't see any reason why you need to buy multiple sets of ski crampons. Buy like each size for your skis and then you got them for life. I don't think it's like there's technical evolutions of ski crampons. I know I've seen some, but like, why would you really upgrade? Ski crampons are ski crampons. Let's talk safety equipment. So this year I switched to Ortovox equipment. We've got the Ortovox Direct Voice, and I'm gonna write some pieces about this. What I do really like about this is, although maybe this beacon isn't designed necessarily for me, but this beacon is designed to help more people save lives. And what I mean by that is, the number one thing I encounter when you're teaching people how to do avalanche rescue, the thing they don't do is practice. And that is the single most important thing you can do when it comes to avalanche rescue. When we teach avalanche courses, we'll go back-to-back years, and then you realize you're like, oh, you didn't practice once in between the whole year we had off between classes. So something like this Direct Voice Ortovox, it talks you through the actual rescue. So when you're in those stressful moments, when someone is buried, having a voice there to tell you what to do, maybe it's not for me, who someone is practicing all the time, but for the masses, for the people that aren't able to practice, I had a little battery camera issue. So back to this. So for the people that can't practice, which is a lot of people that want to get into backcountry skiing, the people that can only go 3 or 4 times a year, it's a great option. And I like that Outerwear is not innovating for the 10% at the top. They're innovating for the 50%, the 80%, the people that want to get into it. Same sort of stuff, carbon 280 probe. I like longer probes when I can. Everyone loves longer probes, I would say. That's probably universal. People tell you that short probes don't matter. I think they're generally lying to you. They're probably trying to make up for something. I don't know. I've always heard they like my long probes. They don't necessarily, you know, in the past, they've had a lot of experience with short probes, but when they see my long probe, they're very happy with it. So I would suggest you, if you don't have a long probe, get yourself a long probe. It's better. Cool little thing. It's got the Outerwear pocket spike, so it can turn your shovel handle into a little mini emergency ice axe. So pop this thing on there. This thing on there works like that. This is actually the shovel that doesn't necessarily work with that because I grabbed the wrong shovel because I was in a hurry trying to make this video, all that stuff. So anyways, yeah, what else we got here? Last little things. Let's see what's in here. Oh yeah, that's like an overnight kit. So yeah, that's some like expedition stuff. So nothing really there to talk about. This is kind of like, this is a kit I would say I always have with me, not necessarily always in my backpack, but definitely in the car on the way to the trailhead per se. Sometimes I'll throw it in my back, but it's really heavy. You know, I've always got a headlamp in here. I've always got some sunscreen in here. I've always got my favorite sunscreen in here. I've always got extra rope in here. I've got a very good Leatherman and a ton of different bits. If I can open this up. Yeah, a ton of different bits. Like I've got drugs, I've got a lighter, I've got good drugs. I've got a Garmin InReach, even though I deactivated my account because, except for expeditions, I find the iPhone 16 satellite to be working pretty good. Look into it. I know, whoops. Look into it. I know that Garmin just changed their plans. You know, I canceled my plan because they made their plans a bit prohibitively expensive and hard to cancel, hard to turn on and off. But I think they just changed that again. So I found that the iPhone SOS satellite messaging to work pretty well, especially for day trips. I think on an expedition, I would still bring a Garmin InReach. If I was going on any sort of overnight, I'd probably bring the InReach, but the SOS satellite messaging, don't see that much reason to bring the InReach anymore. Anyways, that's for another topic, maybe a topic for the 50 Plus newsletter. If you would be so kind, you should sign up for that. I won't spam you. Usually it's gonna be weekly or bi-weekly newsletters, writing the notices of videos coming out, behind the scenes storytelling, information about lines, all that stuff's gonna be on there. Also direct access to me, you get my email address, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, last thing actually, let's talk about my favorite thing in the world, the Yeti carry-all. The purse for men, you know? Because it's got Yeti on it, we feel good about using a purse. Otherwise, that's everything. If you're still watching, I applaud you. I do not know how long this has taken, but this is a very long video. My throat is dry. I need some water. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the season of the 50 Plus. If you have any questions, please ask below. Otherwise, I'm supposed to do the like, comment, subscribe thing. I don't care, whatever. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.